From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Adam Hushin. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, a look back at the stories making an impact from our money team, from the creation of a cannabis chamber of commerce to the new high school requirement of financial literacy.
Our big story tonight, a cannabis chamber of commerce created with one mission: to make recreational marijuana legal here in Arizona.
Cronkite News reporter Mariah Gallegos has some insight on how the new chamber plans to do that. Mariah?
It's a fight nearly 10 years in the making. In 2010, Arizona voters joined the other states in legalizing the use of medical marijuana with Prop 203. Then in 2016, the Arizona Marijuana Legislation Initiative was on the ballot, but Prop 205 was defeated. The next year, another initiative was started. Paperwork for the Safer Arizona Cannabis Act was filed, but it didn't get enough valid signatures to get on the ballot. Now, the latest initiative, Smart and Safe Arizona, submitted its paperwork to the state's Legislative Council for a legal analysis and review. The deadline is July 2nd of 2020. The referendum needs 237,645 signatures from registered voters to qualify for the ballot.
The Arizona Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, also known as AZC3, wants to bring change to the Smart and Safe Arizona proposed initiative to legalize the recreational use of marijuana.
The goal for the Arizona Cannabis Chamber of Commerce is to promote professionalism and ethics across the industry, as well as to support small businesses in the marijuana space.
Susan Wang is the CEO of a national portfolio of cannabis brands. She believes the mix of professions which make up the group can better serve the community.
There are attorneys and there are accounting firms, there's a payment solutions, there's banking, there's other experts with the certification and laboratories that are involved. And that's actually what we need in Arizona, the diversity. Because how can you let just the dispensary owners to decide the fate of adult use here in Arizona?
If the legislation is passed, Arizona would join the District of Columbia and 11 other states, highlighted in bright green, which have legalized marijuana for recreational use. AZC3 is not against the recreational use of marijuana in Arizona, but they are pushing for changes to the proposed initiative, and if not, they will take their changes to the legislator.
We know all the benefits this product's brought to patients, especially our veterans with PTSD and mental illnesses, and we want to make sure that as many people get this product that need it, and also that they get it in a very safe and healthy way.
After speaking with members who attended the launch of AZC3, many believe after the 2016 initiative was defeated by just 2.64%, Arizona has a chance of becoming a recreational use state. Mariah Gallegos, Cronkite News.
The death of Stephanie Pullman, an elderly woman who died after her electricity was disconnected, has led to calls for reform.
Now, the regulatory agency that oversees utilities across Arizona is working with companies and activists to create permanent changes that prioritize ratepayer safety.
Cronkite News reporter Madison LaBerge explains the changes being made. Madison?
More than 100 water, gas, sewage, and electric companies are managed by the Arizona Corporation Commission. Pullman's death is now spurring potential changes in all of their disconnection policies. One after another, activists representing vulnerable residents are coming to the Arizona Corporation Commission asking for help. There aren't any government standards for how and why someone's power and water are disconnected.
This is a matter of life and death, and we think that the commission needs to make some bold action in its permanent rules.
Barry McCain represents disabled military veterans. He says that they come back from war and can't pay their bills.
We can go about this all we want. The one thing we're asking of this commission is empathy.
Arizona Corporation Commissioner Sandra Kennedy had tough questions for the outgoing APS president and CEO, Donald Brandt, after a customer's death in August. Stephanie Pullman owed $51.84 on her APS bill, $1.84 over the company shutoff limit.
You also said that, quote, you're not in the business of disconnections, but after the 2017 rate increase, your disconnects went up. They more than doubled. So, Mr. Brandt, how many customer deaths have occurred during your tenure?
Now the AZCC is rolling out a series of workshops to set standards for more than 100 utility companies it regulates. One change that the commission is considering is creating a heat limit for disconnection, similar to one they have for colder temperatures. The commission suggested that shutoffs for non-payment should be stopped when the high temps reach 95 degrees. APS suggested 105 degrees should be the threshold.
105 is unacceptable for Arizona, and we can't use other states as our point of information. Arizona stands alone.
Kennedy also says there should be a summer moratorium on disconnections. Also being considered is how many times a company should contact a ratepayer before they shut off their utilities.
We would like to see a safety visit when someone's power is going to be terminated. We think the utility should knock on the door and make sure it won't endanger their safety.
But proposed reforms are complicated.
We just need to make sure that we're really cognizant of the requirements that we're pushing down to these small companies, because there's just not a lot of ability to deal with some of the requirements that we're looking at.
John B. Kaufman of AARP says the commission should move as quickly as possible.
That are really health and safety related, I would urge the commission to take action and not drag this out for years.
Commissioner Kennedy told me that the Arizona Corporation Commission wants to take its time to responsibly create these policies. She told me that if it takes a year, so be it. But in that meantime, next summer, there would be another moratorium. From the Digital Desk, I'm Madison LaBerge, Cronkite News.
Paying rent can be a challenge for many Arizona families, but the challenge of juggling bills disproportionately affects Hispanic ones. Cronkite News' Tyann Marshburn took a look at how rising housing costs are affecting their ability to pay for health care.
Yannette Rubio is a single mother of 3.
It's difficult for someone like me. We don't have resources.
Rubio says that she makes $1,500 a month and pays $1,200 for rent. That leaves her with only $300 for groceries and nothing for medical care. Last year, she said that she had an emergency but couldn't get the help that she needed.
I was in an accident and my knee is hurting me. I couldn't go to the doctor because I don't have money to pay for the doctor.
According to a study presented by Chicanos por la Casa and Unidos US, in 2017, nearly 30% of Hispanics living in Phoenix paid more than 50% of their income on rent. That doesn't leave much money for anything else.
The people we're seeing are really struggling.
Edney Gonzalez, co-executive director for Helping Families in Need, says that they educate families with financial hardships on their options for assistance.
Our organization helps families apply for Access, SNAP, TANF, and Kids Care, also the Affordable Care Act, the ACA Marketplace applications.
In the Valley, Chicanos por la Casa promotes the idea of home buying versus renting.
Budgeting, credit, those things that are necessary in order for them to become home buyers, they can use those same skills to rent properties if they aren't able to purchase at the time.
Rubio says that she's been renting for the last 2 years but is looking to find another place with lower rent. In the meantime, she says she has no other option but to be patient while she looks to improve her living situation.
You have to tolerate many things.
In Phoenix, Tyann Marshburn, Cronkite News.
According to a study conducted by the Arizona Department of Health Services, between 2013 and 2017, 20% of Hispanics in Arizona didn't have health insurance.
The teacher shortage continues to plague the state.
The Arizona Department of Education says more than 20% of district schools have openings right now, but one school district is working to fix that.
Reporter Jenna Yanoni went down to Tucson to find out why some people are changing their careers and being paid to learn to teach.
Laura Garcia discovered the Pathways to Teaching program while working an unsatisfying retail job to cover the bills and is eager for the opportunity.
I'm really looking forward to all the support. It seems like that they're literally putting so much planning into supporting every single person through this program. I'm looking forward to that. Being in a classroom, because most of my classes have been done online, which is which is tough, really, really tough.
Arizona classrooms are encountering years of teacher shortages. The Arizona Education Department says that more than 75% of teacher positions in 2018 remained vacant or were filled by people not meeting state requirements, a pattern that's been on repeat for the last 5 years. One district superintendent believes that this is because of a lack of community.
If you're not in a district where there's a strong sense of community, I'm not sure you're going to get the outcomes that are really intended to be part of this program, which is people staying long-term here, right? And so I don't want to downplay the idea that there's got to be a strong sense of community already established.
Tired of empty halls and overcrowded classrooms, one veteran educator says that the partnership between Sunnyside School District and the University of Arizona is the homegrown answer that they have been looking for.
These are people who want to give back to the community. These are people who are already committed because of the work that they've done so far. And I have seen that in their essays and what it is they want to see happen with themselves as they move through the process, but also what they want to give back to children of Sunnyside.
The program targets Tucson residents who have completed roughly 2 years of college. They are paid a $1,000 monthly stipend and receive help with tuition. Fast forward 17 months and they'll be in the classroom, backed by an Arizona teaching certificate. Which is why Garcia says that her students will be in good hands, especially those with special needs.
I actually want to go to work now, yeah, and it's nice because I actually am able to be a mom and do things with my kid, which is nice, but I also am kind of with these kids, we're the more stable things in their lives with special ed, so it's just a really fulfilling job.
About 10 teachers have accepted the pilot program invitation and will officially start their studies at Sunnyside schools in January. Starting this year, high school students have to take a financial literacy class before they can graduate.
And it's all due to a bill signed into law by Governor Doug Ducey.
Cronkite News reporter Delaney White talked with students who have been taking this class. Delaney?
I talked with students and staff at Xavier College Prep about what their course entails. It's something they've been teaching for years.
Everything adds up. How much money you think you have an endless supply when you're a kid, and then you get older and you realize, oh, I have to start working for things now. I have to become more frugal in how I spend things and be able to budget myself better.
Starting this fall, Arizona high school students will now be required to complete a personal finance course in order to graduate. This requirement is new for some schools, but Xavier College Prep students have been learning these important financial skills for years.
What we hope the students and what we've seen in the past that the students take away from the course is putting the economic theory into personal, practical reality. So their personal finances, learning how to budget, how to set up a spending plan, how to plan for the future, for retirement. They're most likely not going into a company that has a pension plan. And these days, people are jumping from job to job, so learning how to set themselves up for the future so they don't find themselves, at 65 or 70 without any assets.
Students say they have learned valuable lessons in the course as well as gained knowledge about topics that will soon apply to their lives, especially when it comes to credit cards and college payments.
I will definitely be using the pros and cons of credit cards because that's coming up soon for being 18 and being able to get one. So I have to think about how I can pay off credit cards and not fall into debt. And it's also important to figure out how to pay for college so you don't fall into student debt either.
The new financial literacy requirement is intended to give students skills they will need in the real world, such as making financial decisions and balancing credit and debt.
An innovative idea to change the world can come from anywhere or anyone. At an event here in Arizona, people with diverse backgrounds joined together for a day full of learning, collaborating, and networking. Cronkite News reporter Mariah Gallegos attended Desk Tech for a glimpse at the technology of tomorrow. Mariah?
Startup companies and leaders in businesses from across the valley and different states shared their reasons for attending and what they remember most about this year's event.
Tina Swice is creating a virtual reality game for the rehabilitation of children's neurogastrointestinal system.
My son was born with a very rare birth defect, and I realized that if you can't
find solutions, you have to be the change.
She attended the Des Tech informative sessions to hear from others' experiences.
A lot of the sessions were very informative, and they were not just informative in general information. They were giving you the latest in tech and the latest in the technology that you want to learn about, especially like in artificial intelligence, in the AR. The sessions were also very interactive, and they had amazing opportunities for networking. So I met a lot of amazing people that I need to follow up with right after.
And much like Swice, many others were excited to be surrounded by like-minded people.
You get to meet people that have done the work themselves on startup. They give great input, great ideas, and when you're trying to do something that's completely different that nobody's ever done, first thing people look at you like you're nuts. I had an engineer from American Express when we started out said, "You're nuts." And 7 years later, I bumped into him again. He says, "Keep going."
And they found inspiration and advice from Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak.
One tip would probably be never listen to one tip. Because it's funny, but every startup and every person is different.
This year, winners from a previous innovation challenge participated in the Venture Ready graduation and presented their company pitches. Alan Lerner is the CEO of a startup that helps people with home renovations. He's hoping to find more funding for his idea.
Having a ton of great entrepreneurs in the room, a lot of great VC companies, with an opportunity, and just a great experience overall.
Tonight, judges will select one company to receive the Arizona Commerce Authority and Des Tech AZ Entrepreneurial Excellence Award. In the control room, Mariah Gallegos, Cronkite News.
This new 67,000 square foot building will be fulfilling a big need for those in the Phoenix area. Those who came earlier say this should be something that should have happened years ago.
Because I am in a wheelchair, it's just very, very hard and difficult to get groceries back from a long distance.
For shoppers like Sarah Hawk-Selcher, the opening of this Fry's supermarket in downtown Phoenix means more than just a new grocery store. It means basic necessities will be a little bit closer to home.
Oh, I had to go a long ways. We're on the other side of town, and it was very, very difficult to bring all that stuff back on my wheelchair.
Until now, the closest grocery store was miles away. With this new addition, downtown Phoenix will no longer be known as a food desert.
Food deserts are areas that don't have accessible foods within, let's say, 20 minutes of walking to a place or within a certain radius around them.
It provides residents here who are in downtown the ability to get what they need right where they need it.
Fry's manager Chris Berryman says he is excited to make life a bit easier for downtown Phoenix residents and the workers.
So the people that don't want to drive, use light rail, we're going to be very convenient for that.
During today's opening, thousands of shoppers crowded the store.
It's been chaotic. Absolutely chaotic.
But despite the throngs of people, it's clear many have been waiting for this day for far too long.
I think it is so wonderful because there was no other grocery store around here. A lot of people are on government, and I am. And so I've been shopping at CVS, and man, it just drained me. I think it's going to be helpful for everybody.
In addition to today's opening, Fry's has announced it's donating $40,000 to 2 local charities that fight food insecurity across the state. Live in downtown Phoenix, Ellie Nakamoto-White, Cronkite News.
Fans of electric vehicles are continuing their fight to push residents and leaders across Arizona to transition from gas to electric-powered cars.
Cronkite News reporter Mariah Gallegos went to a forum on the future of electric transportation.
Attendees were allowed to test drive some of the newest electric vehicles and learn about the improvements to the technology.
You couldn't pry my electric car out of my hands.
Drivers like John Morrow are switching from gas to electric because they believe it's better for the environment. His only concern is the price of replacing the battery, but even that he thinks will become more affordable with time.
Because of all of the places that are putting up battery factories worldwide, I'm expecting that if I had to get a replacement battery 10 years from now, it probably would cost less than half of what we'd expect it to now.
But could the lower cost of batteries and electric cars lead to more used and dead batteries contributing to the climate change crisis?
I'm optimistic that's not going to be a problem.
Travis Madsen with Southwest Energy Efficient Project believes the worn-out batteries won't outweigh the environmental benefits of driving electric vehicles.
I think that batteries will have a second life outside the car. So there's already examples of places where the companies are putting them in warehouses and plugging them into the electricity grid, where they can, provide a place to store extra wind power, extra solar power, or provide other services that our electricity system needs to operate.
And there are more types of electric vehicles coming to the market. Arizona-based manufacturer Nikola is adding jet skis and military vehicles to its electric lineup. But one thing owners want more of is charging stations.
Arizona is such a big, largely empty populations are in dense little clusters around, which makes it trickier for electric cars if you're traveling city to city. But within the valley here, it's no problem at all.
Arizona has 469 charging stations compared to the nearly 6,000 in California. At the digital desk, Mariah Gallegos, Cronkite News.
Scottsdale Water has been doing what's called indirect potable reuse of water for over 20 years, but now Scottsdale is eligible for direct potable reuse.
This means they can serve recycled water directly for human consumption. Delaney White has more about how the water is being used.
Though this water will not be put directly into the distribution systems for homes and businesses, a local brewery is using the water in an attempt to change public perception.
All water has a history. What's really important is how that water is treated and how that water is tested.
The City of Scottsdale's Water Resources Division received a permit for direct potable reuse of water, meaning the treatment of recycled water is safe for people to drink. But even though it's safe, the department will not be putting the water directly into homes. But one brewery says it's great for beer. Here at Walter Station Brewery, they are now adding recycled water to their beer in order to change public perception. Owner and brewer James Erickson explained the process behind turning this recycled water into beer.
They are delivering that, and we're putting it into our hot liquor tank, which is the first vessel or tank that we use, which supplies water for the entire brewing process. So what you've seen earlier is them basically rigging up a hose with a pump system so that they can pump the water that they brought into our equipment so that we can use it for brewing.
Erickson explained why this practice of sustainability is so important for not only his business, but for people everywhere.
In a brewery where the product that we produce is over 95% water, obviously water is going to be really important to us. It is a resource that we use more than anything else. And so obviously it's very important. And it's really important that we develop sustainable practices so that we have water to come or to use for years to come.
Owner James Erickson said quality control checks have detected no discernible differences in the taste of the beer. In the broadcast center, Delaney White, Cronkite News.
Fast-growing plus-size clothing industry is worth more than $21 billion in the U.S., and the demand for inclusive dancewear is no different. Reporter Erica Morris shows us how a mother-daughter duo from Avondale created an inclusive dancewear company.
The typical dancer's body is described as long, lean, and strong, but there are those who are proud to break that mold.
They just couldn't get in their head that someone who's not, super skinny can be a good dancer.
Amanda LeCount, an 18-year-old dancer from Los Angeles, says that fitted costumes were always a challenge and she constantly had to alter them. Stephanie Patrick, a choreographer and competitive dancer from Mesa, Arizona, shared similar frustrations, emphasizing how the fit of a dancer's clothes are key to moving freely.
Especially for dancers, you want to be comfortable in your body, you want to be comfortable with whatever you're wearing, you want to be comfortable in just everything that you're doing.
Both Amanda and Stephanie found plus-size dancewear that lets them really move through Revel, a Phoenix-based dancewear line that caters to dancers who are size 18 and up. Mom, LaToya Bray, was inspired to start the line in 2016 after her daughter's dance performance.
I was at her recital and saw the little girls that were considered curvy or plus size. Everything was tight on them. You know, they had muffin tops from the leggings. It just didn't fit them properly at all.
Revel celebrates curves with empowering phrases like dope curves and everybody is a dance body on them.
Revel has made it better because now I can go out and dance and people are like, oh, I like your jacket, where'd you get that from? I was like, oh, I got this from Revel.
One reason why the measurements for dancewear are often inaccurate is because companies simply expand the bust, waist, and hips of a smaller size. To combat stigma, Revel uses an inspiration chart that features the measurements of prominent curvy dancers in the industry.
We use real sizes. We don't start with a size 0 or 2 and then upsize. We start with an 18-20 and then go from there.
And going there means encouraging plus-size women to participate in dance workshops and runway shows that Revel hosts.
We want you to have a good time. We want you to come out regardless of what you look like, build confidence, and that's why we have our workshop to help people build confidence and just kind of get out of their mind and just say, hey, I can move, I can do this, and I can be powerful.
With that power comes opportunity. Amanda went from modeling Revel to walking in singer Rihanna's New York City runway show for Fenty Fashion. Next up, she'll perform in a live-action show of Disney's Little Mermaid.
You know, for all I know, I wouldn't have been able to do the Rihanna Fenty show if I hadn't done that.
Through Revel, LaToya and Zanaya are helping dancers break the mold, encouraging them to move with confidence. In Los Angeles, Erica Morris, Cronkite News.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.